Hello and welcome to the Valley. Today I am your host, Janet Michael. I am sitting today at the MSV, the Museum of the Shenandoah Valley. Julie Armel invited me over to have a conversation about all of the things. Got a quick tour of different exhibits that are happening inside the museum. So Julie, thank you for saying, yes, Janet, come see the dinosaurs, see the photography exhibit, come take a look at all the things that we've done here. I think this is fantastic.
Oh, it's so great to have you back. And you and I go back long enough that I remember when everything was in studio. So it's so fun to have you out and about and have you actually here at the museum. So welcome back.
So Julie Armel is the Deputy Director of Marketing and Communications here at the Museum of the Shenandoah Valley. And Julie, I know that you're celebrating 20 years of being here, but for someone who maybe is new to the area, or even someone who's lived here for a while and they drove by and thought, I wonder what that is back there. Give me an overview of all of the goodness that they can find behind those gates off of Amherst Street.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, the Galleries building here on site is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. So hard to believe it opened 20 years ago. But for those who haven't been here, the MSV is the largest green space and only working farm in the city of Winchester. So we're just about 200 acres, and we include a galleries building that tells the story of the Shenandoah Valley and hosts changing exhibitions. We have a Glen Burnie historic house on property that dates back to the late 1790s. And in the 20th century, that house was surrounded by 7 acres of formal gardens by the museum's benefactor, who was descended from Winchester's founder, Colonel James Wood.
Go Colonels.
I know. Yeah. And 5 years ago, we opened an additional 90 acres of the landscape as trails at the MSV. So it's a free admission, a community art park that's open 7 days a week. The formal gardens, the house, and the galleries are open 6 days a week, Tuesday through Sunday, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the trails are open 7 a.m. until dusk, year-round. We have ADA accessible trails, but there's also rustic trails. So cumulatively, there's close to 5 miles of trails. So for running, walking, biking.
And they're dog friendly. When I parked and came inside, there were some people walking with their dogs on the trails.
Absolutely. So leash dogs are welcome on the trails. I will say service dogs only in the formal gardens and the galleries. But what's very unique about the trails at the MSV, it is an art park. So along the way, you'll walk by a variety of sculpture. Some of it's made by artists in the valley. Some is on loan to us from the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. We were just given a phenomenal installation by a world-renowned artist, Beverly Pepper. Her studio gifted us with 4 beautiful bronze sculptures. So there's always something to see as you walk the trails.
And that's a lot of work because it's not static in any way, shape, or form. When I was here last time to do the shows, Gardens of Glass was happening outdoors, and now that's gone, and there are dinosaurs.
That's right, dinosaurs.
There were big bugs at one point.
Correct.
You're adding things to the trails. It is a constant movement of things coming in and going out.
Yeah. We've got our permanent collections that are on view. We have permanent exhibits in the galleries building. We have formal gardens, which we look at as our living collection, so a gallery outside. There's the trails at the MSV, and also the Glen Burnie house. The drawing room has changing exhibitions. So the big bugs, the Gardens of Glass, which is spectacular, those were outdoor exhibits that we have in our 7-acre formal gardens. And this summer, we have the exhibition Scraposaurs. So there are 14 giant prehistoric creatures made out of scrap metal in the garden. So it's a super fun family visit, or if you're just a dinosaur fan, you'll see everything from, there's a huge T-Rex, and his teeth and part of his body are made out of a John Deere rotary hoe. His claws are cargo latches from a Boeing airplane. The Triceratops, his body was built out of a Chevy pickup truck frame. Most of the dinosaurs are half size, because to be full size, they came from Minnesota. The exhibition is making its East Coast debut here at the museum, but they had to be transported on a flatbed. So could you imagine driving down the interstate? And we have pictures of when they arrived. There were 4 on this
and
huge,
like a dinosaur head on the back of a
they're
flatbed.
assembled. They came fully assembled. So they had to get here. I don't think anything is life-size, with the exception of perhaps there's a woolly rhino, which has come to be a staff favorite. The woolly rhino. We've got a T-Rex, a Triceratops, there's a pterodactyl, and if you look closely, the creature's teeth are actually forks. Yeah, so it's a really fun exhibit. You'll learn a lot about dinosaurs. I didn't know some dinosaurs had feathers.
Oh.
Yeah, see, there you
Oh,
go.
yeah, I didn't know that either.
So you'll learn about dinosaurs, but also creativity and art in a recycling way. We've had real rave positive reviews, and folks only have about 2 more weeks to see it. So it's here until October 19th, and then they roam away.
And then they go back to on a flatbed somewhere.
I believe they're traveling to Pennsylvania.
You just talked about the fact that the museum is 20 years old now. That's a big deal for you to be the first place on the East Coast to have this outdoor exhibit. If I'm not mistaken, Gardens of Glass was similar. They had not done anything in Virginia, right?
They had been to the Norfolk Botanical Garden years ago, but the sculptures that Craig Mitchell-Smith, the artist, brought here had not been on public display. There might have been 1 or 2 that it was a second edition of that was under here, but all the sculptures were new and had not been on display. So
and that's cool for a young museum. I mean, that sounds like an oxymoron when you say that out loud. But just being here 20 years, that's a really big feather in your cap.
Oh, yeah, it is. Thank you. And believe it or not, we've had, I probably should count, but I want to say more, probably close to 50 in those 20 years, different changing exhibitions, both indoors and outdoors. We started around 2020. There's the before times and the after times. But that was when we started the idea of seeing would people react positively, would they enjoy the outdoor exhibitions? And they've been very well received. And we alternate 1 year, like Gardens of Glass was fine art. It was beautiful.
Exquisite.
For those who hadn't seen it, it was kiln-fired glass shaped into flowers, and there were 30 sculptures of different flowers throughout the gardens.
A lot of orange,
Yeah,
so you can imagine how much I enjoyed it.
Yes. And then the next year we'll try to have an exhibition that appeals to families. So some of our most popular exhibitions for families have been art made out of Lego bricks. And stay tuned, in a few years we might have another one of those coming back, but a different version. So we try to alternate between fine art and a family-oriented exhibit in the gardens each summer.
And that takes a fair amount of planning. You can't sit here at nearing the end of 2025 and not already be thinking about 2028 or even 2029, because getting some of these exhibits, you got to fall in line with their schedule and the logistics and the setup and all of the things. You've really got to be planning 5, 6, 7 years out.
Absolutely, and that we have a very talented, unbelievable arts and exhibitions team here that plan those. And the exhibits aren't free either, so it involves our advancement team who tries to solicit partners to help us bring the exhibits here. There are, I want to say, 13 to 14 partners that helped us bring Scraposaurs here to the museum. So it's a community effort to make these exhibitions possible. I just get to talk about them, but my colleagues are the ones that make it happen. What's exciting too is each exhibit, whether it's indoors or outdoors or on the trails, we use those as an inspiration for programming, workshops, teen events, kids events. For example, we have a Dino Con coming up on Sunday, October 12th. That's 1 week before the exhibit closes, and it's a day celebrating all things dinosaurs and free admission if you were dressed like a dinosaur, or we're pretty flexible if you have a t-shirt that's got a dinosaur on it, but you got to have a dino theme, but free admission to anyone who's sporting some dino gear. And I will say we never do want admission to be a barrier for anyone to visit the Museum of the Shenandoah Valley. So if you are on food assistance or you have SNAP, you have an EBT card, we're part of the Museums for All program. Just show your EBT card at admission, and general admission is free for all those who are on food assistance who have EBT cards.
I think it's so great that you participate in that. The Discovery Museum does as well, and I think it is such a help for families. It's one of those hidden benefits that those of us that don't think twice about coming in, paying the admission fee, and taking our family really should appreciate a little bit more, that not every mom and dad has the ability to do that. So I really am proud that you guys have stepped up to do that.
Oh, thank you. We enjoy it. And again, you get youngsters to a museum when they're young, they'll love it.
There's going to be a time where
you
you have an exhibit that's here that is world renowned, and you are going to find out that that kid came here when they were 3 or 4 or 5, and that was their inspiration. I'm just sure that is going to happen, ideally in our lifetimes.
And I will say, when we have special exhibitions, often there is an additional fee in the gardens that just help us cover the cost of bringing the exhibits here. But thanks to support from the Shockey companies, every Wednesday, the gallery's building is open for free. That doesn't include the special gardens exhibits when they're here, but you can have free admission, all ages, EBT card or not, on Wednesdays to see what's on view in the galleries building. And the galleries admission is always free to kids ages 12 and under. So it's just the special exhibits in the gardens, and that sometimes it's with a contract we have with a lending firm, but there's always, we'll get you in here.
Somehow or another, we'll make it work.
Don't let admission be a barrier.
And when we're talking about all of the outdoor things that you can enjoy here at the MSV, the garden lights are stellar. They are so amazing. There's something to be said for being here after dark.
It's a special time, and we are entering this November our 3rd year of garden lights. But first year it was very successful, so we signed a contract to do it for 3 more years. And so this is our 3rd year of garden lights, and it's an immersive, it's not necessarily a holiday light show. It's not
like what they do at Clearbrook Park during the holidays. This is very different from that.
Which is very Christmas themed garden lights. It's an immersive art experience. It's a walking tour through the gardens, and literally thousands of LED flower lights. The trees are bathed in a kaleidoscope of colors, purple, yellows, reds. They're tiny little laser beams in the Jasmine Ali. And each year we add new features and change things up a little bit. There's a favorite button that people have loved. You hit a button and it causes a dozen spotlights to go back and forth down the front lawn of the house. November 13th to 30th. This year it's Wednesday through Sunday. We don't have garden lights on Mondays, Tuesdays, or Thanksgiving Thursday. But get your tickets now. We have sold out the last 3 years. And exciting news this year, tickets also include admission to the exhibitions.
What?
Yeah, so you can get your garden lights ticket and explore the gardens, and we've got hot cocoa. You can spike it if you want. Hot cider, hot cocoa.
It's like you know me.
Yes, and enjoy that as you walk through the gardens, and either visit the galleries before or after. So come get a little bit of art, a little bit of lights in the gardens. It's spectacular, and it's very reasonable. The prices are for adults $19 per person and $6.50 for children.
And the season is over now, but you do concerts in the gardens. There are a lot of things outdoors that you can take advantage of here at the MSV.
Absolutely. The outdoor holiday concerts ended. MSV at Night, our last one was just last week, but we move inside for the winter, so we have classical at the MSV.
I didn't know that.
Yes, if you're interested in classical music, we have intimate chamber concerts in the drawing room of the house, which are beautiful. We have our holiday concert series in December coming up inside. Always something to enjoy here. So we just move inside when it gets cold, except for garden lights.
Let's take a break. When we come back, let's talk about inside. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to do all of that when we come back. We are sitting recording today at the Museum of the Shenandoah Valley. Julie Armo is here with me. She is Deputy Director of Marketing and Communications. We're going to learn about some indoor things that you can come here and enjoy when we come back in just a couple of minutes.
This Tuesday, April Davis will change the world. She doesn't know that yet. All she knows is that she went to justserve.org and volunteered an hour of her time. Browsing through dozens of service opportunities in her community, April decided to spend her Tuesday evening serving dinner to mothers and their children at a transitional house. She doesn't know she'll be serving a particular mother and daughter who will be spending their first night in this home. April doesn't know that the hot meal she'll serve is the first this mother and daughter will have had in a week, or that the simple smile she'll offer as she serves them will help them realize that things are going to be all right. Which is why this Tuesday, April Davis will change the world. See the difference you can make. Sign up for service opportunities in your community. Visit justserve.org.
Welcome back to the Valley. Today, I am your host, Janet Michael. We are recording today at the Museum of the Shenandoah Valley. Julie Armo is here with me. She is their Deputy Director of Marketing and Communications. We're in the library. Julie, is this room open to the public in the galleries?
It is open to the public and covered with our collections team. So what people will find in here are a lot of books related to art, particularly art that was collected by Julian Woodglass Jr., our benefactor. His partner, Lee Taylor, was a collector and creator of miniature houses and rooms. So there was a magazine called Nutshell News for the miniature enthusiasts. So there's all Lee's editions of Nutshell News. So this isn't a place where you would do genealogical research, so to speak, but there are a lot of books related to our collection, as well as books collected by Julian Glass. There's books on American furniture. We might, if we have an exhibit on, let's say, Hudson River landscape paintings, and that exhibition has an exhibition catalog, we'd put a catalog here in the library. Now, this isn't where you'll find books that are of a delicate nature. For example, the Woodglass Family Bible is in our collection storage. It's not in the library. But it's a cool room. What would you say, Janet? It's about 20 by 30. It's an intimate room. But
and literally 3 walls, floor to ceiling, of books. It is amazing. And this table is outstanding.
Oh, thank you. This was designed by Reader and Swartz here in Winchester. Describe it for the listeners. It's a metal table, but underneath the glass tabletop are artifacts relating to the Shenandoah Valley. So there's a part of an apple bin, an old drawer pull, some ironwork, some corn cobs,
some trim, corbels, things along. It is just outstanding. I'll take a picture and put it on my Instagram.
All right. Always something to see here at the museum.
And that's the beauty of coming through the front doors, because not only are some things always here, but some things are always changing. So you could come through any month and it could look totally different.
This is true. We have permanent exhibits with some of our permanent collections, but even in those, there are objects that rotate, either something coming off view because it's delicate, it's paper or textile, and putting something in its place, or a new addition to the collection being put out. So there are minor changes there, but we do have roughly 3 spaces in the galleries that we have changing and rotating exhibitions. And we just opened, for example, in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, we wanted to have the exhibit open in September. We just opened Frida Kahlo exhibit. It's Frida Kahlo through the lens of Nicholas Marai. And Nicholas Marai was a friend and lover of Frida Kahlo, but also a renowned photographer. He photographed socialites, artists, politicians of his day, and fell in love with Frida on a trip to Mexico. And for just about 10 years, they had a relationship. So his photographs of her are some of the most iconic photographs of the Mexican artist you'll see. If you go to any Frida exhibit, you'll see one of his photos. And the treat here is the exhibition here has 50 photographs of Frida. So you'll see some of the iconic images that you maybe have seen before, but also some very personal, intimate ones that you haven't seen before. There's a self-portrait of Nicholas and Frida in her studio, pictures of Frida and Diego, her husband Diego, friends, and just some beautiful, lovely pictures of the artist. So if you're a Frida Kahlo fan, if you're a photography nut, if you are bilingual or a Spanish speaker and you want to test out your ability, we have an audio tour for the exhibit that's both in Spanish and English, and all the interpretation in the exhibit is both in Spanish and English as well.
The thing that I always appreciate about all of the exhibits that you have is that I can know nothing and walk in the door and everything is explained. I can go, I don't even know who that is, but all I have to do is stand there and read, and you just mentioned, or listen, and know as I'm walking through that exhibit, oh, this is what this was, and this is why it looks this way, and this is what they were doing at the time, and this is why this is important. That educational piece of it, I think, is so invaluable that people sometimes don't go to an exhibit because they're like, I don't know anything about that. They should come because they'll know a whole lot more when they leave than they did when they walked in the door.
Absolutely. Don't let not knowing be a barrier or intimidate you, because this is a place where you come to learn, and we hope we make it fun to do that. And as I mentioned, a lot of our programs center around what's on view. So we have a teen art club that meets once a month for free, and the next meeting they're talking about documentary photography. So they're going to take a visit to the Frida Kahlo exhibit and then also the exhibition in the Glen Burnie House, Tierra Prometida, Promised Land, that has black and white photographs of the border, people working on the border that were done by a 21st century artist. So, yeah, we use what's on view to help us always keep our...
It's a good springboard into some immersive things, some interactive activities.
Right, and we have programs for all ages, so it keeps our programming fresh and something new. So if photography isn't your jam, we've got a few paintings on view. You saw those earlier today.
I joked with you when you came to meet me in the lobby that you had a banner that was hanging up, and the exhibit is called Curated Chaos. And I thought that was was a very good tagline for my life, particularly these last several weeks. It was the coolest thing to be able to walk through because it's so unexpected. But it's serving a purpose for you here. You were able to take something that you needed from a functional standpoint and turn it into an incredible exhibit.
Absolutely. Well, I can take no credit for it. That's our collections team. But the exhibition is called Curated Chaos, Collection Storage Unpacked. The building's 20 years old. To construct the building and stay within our budget, we had to not do some things, one of which was the entrance that we added 5 years ago when the trails opened. The other was really outfitting our collection storage space, which is behind the scenes, a space that people don't see on a tour. And it was a big room. And it was kind of like a Costco. We had shelves that you could go up and down with a lift, and then just racks that went floor to ceiling where we would hang paintings that aren't on view. Thanks to a grant from IMLS and generous support from donors, we had funding to renovate our collection storage.
That stuff had to go somewhere.
Yes, there are tens of thousands of objects in collection storage, from miniatures for the miniature collection to a huge printing press and furniture. And to renovate our collection storage, imagine renovating your attic or your crawl space. You have to take everything out to renovate the space. We had to take everything out of storage. There was one gallery we closed and we used for storage. But the collections team had a wonderful idea to put as much on view in one gallery as possible. And it's a salon hang, floor to ceiling hang of primarily paintings from the Julian Woodglass Jr. collection.
They are outstanding.
But again, it's really a feast for the eyes. Floor to ceiling.
Chairs and baskets. And not only are the paintings themselves exquisite, the frames.
Yes.
Are just beautiful. It is just so cool to walk in and see something that you totally would not have expected, and it's everywhere.
Yes. There's an alcove that has more than a half dozen of tall case clocks, an alcove of our basket collection. So we've got a miniature basket that's about 2 inches, and then a basket that's over 6 feet tall that was made in the Shenandoah Valley. And literally a wall of chairs with shelves that have anything from a Civil War era camp chair that was connected to the founder of Storer College to a sofa that was in Buckingham House that was before it was Buckingham Palace. It's a really beautiful, fun thing to see. And that is on view until November 30th. So collections, the pieces and parts are all done in storage. So some of the cool things that we can do now instead of, they were stored properly, but we would store dozens and dozens of quilts in boxes folded with archival paper. And now we're going to have textile rolls so we can roll the textiles, and we have movable walls that we can hang paintings on. We're going to really maximize the space that we have using state-of-the-art technology that'll help preserve things to its highest level and make life a little easier for the collections team.
And your collection isn't finite. There are still things that are being donated to you. There are still things that you may find that you want to add that you're going to have to keep and store here. So you can't just say, okay, this is all we have and this is all we're ever going to have, so this is the all the space that we're going to need. That's not the case.
This is true. There's a couple collections that we're not adding to. Obviously, like the Julian Woodglass Jr. collection is finite, what was collected by Julian during his life, the miniatures collection. But we are actively collecting for the Shenandoah Valley collection, and there's a collections committee made up of board members and volunteers who serve on the committee, and they've got a list of things that they're interested in. You and I talked about maybe having Nick Powers, our curator of collections, on after he has put everything back in storage later in the year to talk a little bit about 20 years. What's 20 years of collecting been like, and what are some of the things that we're looking for? And we are celebrating that anniversary November 22nd. We have a special exhibit opening called Inside Job, staff favorites from the Valley collection. Both current and former staff members have selected objects, our favorites from the Shenandoah Valley collection, and the curatorial team has put with those objects things that are correlated or related to them.
Has weaved a story of sorts.
Exactly. So that will be our next newest exhibition, and that opens November 22nd. So if you come to Garden Lights, you can see Frida, Curated Chaos, and Inside Job, all with the price of one ticket.
And that's what makes it really nice too. I don't know how many people realize that they can do both. I think sometimes they come for one or the other and don't realize, hey, there's a lot here. You might want to plan more than an hour.
Absolutely. And this sounds so, it's an overused statement, but really is true. There's something for everyone here. If history is not your jam, we've got gardens and outdoors, and
there's a maker space. You have a maker space here.
that's great. You can make pottery. We've got quilt squares, leatherworking kits. So the maker space is open to the public on Tuesdays from 4 to 7 and Sundays from noon to 6. And you can come and do your own thing here too. Yeah.
And I can be a member. I can get a membership for myself. I would imagine they make fantastic gifts.
Yes, if you've got a coworker, a teacher, someone in your family that you don't want to give them a thing, but you want to give them experiences, a gift membership is a phenomenal idea. They start from $35 and go up to $95, but it's unlimited visitation for a year, discount admission to a lot of events, Gardens at Night concerts, free admission to MSV at night, discounted tickets for garden lights, and for some of our events that sell out, members get first opportunity to purchase tickets.
I signed up for the first time to become a member, totally self-serving, so that I could come the day before it opened to the public for the plant sale.
Oh, yes. We do have a plant sale in May, and we also have an online spring bulb sale. So people in July,
I wanted to be able to come Thursday night because I knew you and I had a conversation probably for a radio show, and I wanted butterfly weed, and I wanted butterfly weed that had been grown on this property or had been curated on this property. And I was told that always sells fairly quickly. And so I didn't want to wait till Friday when the general public could come in. I'm like, how much is a membership? I'm coming Thursday night.
That's a big fundraiser for garden maintenance here at the museum. We sell about 30 to 35% of our inventory at the preview the night before. So the membership here, it's an enjoyable experience, but it's a phenomenal benefits program. You get so much out of it.
And you are a nonprofit. You are a 501c3. Do you also need volunteers to help you with some of these things?
Absolutely. Garden Lights is a big fundraiser. It helps with maintenance, exhibitions, supports our educational programs. And last year, we were talking about this, looked at the numbers. We had 308 volunteers who worked 140 shifts and close to 1,000 volunteer hours to make Garden Lights possible. So if anyone is interested, we've had student groups help with Garden Lights. We give good hot chocolate to people who volunteer. But if you're interested in getting to know people, we have volunteers that help with school groups. We have volunteers that help with parking at events. If you want to learn about gardening, who work with our horticulturists and help us with garden maintenance. So there is a place for you here. So just pull up our website and find out a little bit about volunteering. Just fill out an application, and our wonderful volunteer coordinator, Jennifer Rittenauer, will reach out and get you involved.
I've had a lot of conversations the last several weeks, since Dave Caring actually, about the value of volunteers. And you mentioned that you got a grant to be able to work on renovating some of that storage space. Sometimes nonprofits can't get grants if they can't show that they have that engagement from the community, that they have those volunteers, because there's an actual value attached to a volunteer hour. Sharon Cromling's going to yell at me because I'm not going to get it right. I never get it right, but it's like $34 and some change. So when you're talking about almost 1,000 hours.
And that's for the one event.
For one event that's valued at $34 an hour, that helps you be able to apply for these grants and say, look what we have, look what we're contributing. That then goes even further than that hour that the person volunteered for.
A lot of people ask, our vegetable garden is beautiful and it's ornamental. Right now there's a dinosaur in the middle of it. But Jennifer was telling me every week we're taking fresh produce to CCAP from our vegetable garden, and we've given over 200 pounds of produce to CCAP from the vegetable garden this year. So we try to be a good community partner as well.
So right now in the gallery, they can see the Frida exhibit until when?
After the holidays. It's here through till January 4th.
And then you take a little bit of time, right? You got to take it down, you've got to send it back, and then you've got to prep for whatever the next one is. So you don't do like that one comes down January 4th and January 5th or something brand new, because your curator, your museum team would probably lose their minds.
Absolutely. It's usually anywhere from a 3 to 5 week time period. In January, we'll be getting ready. Believe it or not, it just so happens that it's another photography exhibit, Arnold Newman Masterclass. So a famous photographer. So you come see some beautiful black and white photographs of anyone from Salvador Dali to...
Wow.
Yes. So he, again, a photographer to the stars, but wonderful photography exhibit, which opens in February.
Your ticket to having a winning trivia team is coming to the MSV and wandering around, because you're going to find all of these little nuggets of information that you're thinking, I don't know that I ever need to know that, until you do. And it's likely going to be at a trivia night at Winchester Brewworks or somewhere that you're going to be like, I learned that at the MSV. That's what you want.
Absolutely. And I would encourage people, we have every year anywhere from 290 to 350. It just depends on the year and time of year. We have programs for all ages. Our garden tour is Plants to Die For in October, Halloween theme, but talking about like spooky, scary plants that are grown in the gardens. But we have gallery explorers for youngsters, teen art club, a lot of workshops, gallery tours. Check us out online. We do send a printed calendar to members, but
I love mine.
Yeah.
I get it and I pour over it and I circle things and then I go online. Okay, I got to get a ticket for that, a ticket for this.
We've got Museum Store Sunday coming up November 30th, where we feature artisans. So it's shopping for the holidays, shopping for a purpose. It benefits the museum. So get online and find out what's going on. It's themsv.org. And again, gallery building and gardens open 10 to 5, Tuesday through Sunday. And the trails open 7 a.m. to dusk year round.
Julie, thank you for inviting me over and giving me some insight into all of these cool, fun things happening here at the MSV.
Well, thank you for coming to see us again.
I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Valley Today, a few minutes after noon. So meet me here then.